When I first started telling people I was separating or separated and divorced, people would always say like, "Oh, did he hit you? Did he abuse you?" Bitch, no. I didn't go through that. Now some people do. For me, it was literal like marriage death by a thousand cuts. It was small things every single day over the course of years that led to separating and divorcing. Now there were a couple of big things, but those small things over the years, oh my gosh. And a lot of us have like a mix of all these things. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I experienced that people may not even really think are a big deal, but they definitely added up. So one of them was I would always ask my ex to like, before we go to bed, like, hey, are the doors locked? He would get so fucking mad at me when I would ask that question because he didn't want to get up to go check the doors. Mind you, military man. So he was deployed a lot. So I always had to be hyper vigilant for months on end, for years, at the most 8 months, doing things on my own. So having that relief of like, oh, he's home, he can make sure we're safe, but then not having that, fucking insane for years. Then I just eventually stopped asking, right? I also stopped asking him to fix things or to put things together because when he would do that, he would have an attitude. So it would either break or it wouldn't be put together correctly and break later on. So once again, I stopped asking, made me stronger, whatever, made me figure it out. But once again, I shouldn't have had to be strong in that way. I should have been able to trust. I planned all of our family trips, all of our dates, probably 98 to 99% of our dates I planned. He would fly across the country. He would drive wherever he needed to drive for someone's retirement, for someone's event. But to take me down the road on a date, couldn't do that shit. And, you know, all the household management, all the household finances, I did all those things. There's so many things, so many small cuts, so many injuries. Oh my gosh, the horrible dates. Like I remember I couldn't figure out why when he planned a date, why it just always wasn't like something would happen all the time, random shit. And I realized because he didn't have intention in planning anything for me. Everything was like last minute. Everything was like a check in the box. And I always left our dates just feeling so unfulfilled, feeling so unloved. It was ridiculous. I remember we were watching a movie, I think The Best Man Holiday, and they were like, you know, in a beautiful island, and I forget it was Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan's character, and she was like about to do something really sexy for him because they were relaxed, right? They were on vacation. And I remember saying to him, "Oh, I wonder what I would do if we were, you know, together on an island." Because mind you, we never, ever went on a vacation together by ourselves, ever. I would have had to plan it, and I didn't want to do that. And I remember he got so angry with me. And he was like, oh my God, like we don't have the money, we don't have this and that, bitch. We had three incomes and I had two of them incomes as a therapist and working full time. And I'm also a professor. So technically four incomes, including his own. But I remember going like, damn, like I can't even ask for anything. You know what I'm saying? So it was a thousand cuts as so many of us women have went through. And I want all of us to share our stories because there are women who are sitting in marriages dying 100 times a day because of these small cuts every single day. May not be big things to some people, but that shit adds up. And I'm saying that for any woman who is navigating this space, who are sitting in a marriage or difficult relationship, and they're just like, I feel off. Something doesn't feel right. Like, what is going on, bitch? It's a thousand cuts that you are receiving day in and day out. And that is hard to deal with.
This is one of those typical examples that is causing people to misconstrue why women are going through divorces, and especially men. And I want to say women with a very old school mindset where people are saying women are just less tolerant. Women don't want to go through the trenches with men. Women are not as submissive as they used to be. And the reality is that I don't think women are less submissive. Women just have woken up and they realize that they've got more options. We came up or grew up and came from a very patriarchal society where men feel a little bit more entitled because they got a little bit more, even in the job market. As a man and a woman, you could be doing the same exact same job, and naturally a man would just get paid higher than a woman for the exact same job, and that happens still today in today's environment. But when it comes to the context of a marriage, in the past, women had less options because men had the financial security, they had the job security, and a lot of women didn't have that. If you trace it back 20, 30, 50 years ago, they didn't have that. But now it's different. And when women find themselves in a situation where they don't need a man, they choose you because they want you, not because they need you, then suddenly a woman is less tolerant to put up with being mistreated. And this is a woman who clearly, she's well informed, she's educated, she's a therapist, so she clearly understands the importance of putting certain things in place psychologically and emotionally in order to support her marriage to work. But it still didn't work, right? And it's mainly because when you see that you deserve better and you're not getting that better, women are more likely to walk away if they feel that that will serve them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And women are not less submissive, we're just less tolerant of bad behavior. And until men come to that realization, men are always going to have this misconception that, oh, education and opportunities have made women more I don't want to say stubborn, but like we've got a little bit of a chip on our shoulders. And maybe, yes, we do have a little bit of a chip on our shoulders because we have opportunities that our mothers or our grandmothers didn't have. And if my grandmother was a stay-at-home wife and my grandfather worked. So to a certain degree, if there were certain things that she was not happy with, it was less easier for her to walk away from that marriage if he had mistreated or if he did anything that she was unhappy with. I mean, my grandmother had 8 kids. So to walk away from a marriage with 8 kids and only one of you has a financial income and you're a stay-at-home wife, it's not easy. But today, I've got one daughter. And if I'm married today and a man is mistreating me, I will walk away. I'm not going to tolerate my mental state of mind being put in jeopardy, or my physical safety being put in jeopardy for the sake of making a marriage work. And that is the real difference that we're confronted with now. And it's not an epidemic or something that is against marriage, or it's not some kind of a agenda against marriage. It's just we're less tolerant of BS. And the idea that if you're not married, you are less of a woman, or you're not considered in high value as a woman in society, that ideology is dead. Women are no longer falling for that. So we've just found a certain level of independence. And I want to encourage any young girl that is out there that is considering getting married. Marriage is a beautiful thing, but find someone that is compatible with you mentally, emotionally, psychologically, financially, and spiritually. Because when two people come together and there's gaps that are not able to interlock, it's not gonna work. So it's more important to take your time and be compatible with the right person than to rush into something just for the sake of having it. It's not worth it at the end of the day. And there's so many stories like this woman's story coming out like this, and it's confirming it over and over again every single day. So just a food for thought for today, guys, and have a good day.